Okay, it appears we have all the members present at this time, so I'd like to open up the regular meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please, everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
one nation,
indivisible,
under God,
liberty and justice for all.
justice for all. Thank you. There is a Board of Selectmen meeting tonight, so the first select woman is going to try to get on if we need her. Next, public comments. I have no written public comments from the public. Approval of special meeting on November 4th, 2020. It's the board's pleasure. Just raise your hand if you make a motion. Motion by Kyle. Second by John. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Or raise your hand. Oppose? Abstentions? So carry 5-0. Thank you. Next, approval of special meeting on November 24th. It's the board's pleasure. Raise your hand if you make a motion. Motion by John. Second by Kyle. Discussion. All in favor, raise your hand. Oppose? Abstentions? So carried. Thank you very much. That's just one of my motor vehicles going by my house, if you could hear that. Next, management report. Chief, can you give a report?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Chief Sakowski speaking. So as always, I start off with the budget. Our current budget looks good, no problems or concerns at the time. Our income revenue is pretty much right where it should be. And if we stay at that rate, we should meet our goal for the year. Our preliminary budget, our rough draft budget was completed for the 21-22 budget year. I gave copies to the budget committee members. That's a work in progress, obviously. You know, basically the budget covers all the positions that we currently have, and mostly the increases are mostly due to salary and contractual obligations. You know, overtime, I increased that a little bit to compensate for those salary increases. Training costs went up. Obviously, we're gonna have to do some additional trainings with this new House bill. A couple line items went up. You know, the 500 account, 530 with vendor costs that have increased. But other than that, there's really not a lot of new initiatives in there. We're pretty much status quo to keep it as low as possible, although it's still a pretty significant increase. We put 2 cars in the budget. As we always do, request cars. I'm sure that probably worked out as it has in the past, where I'm sure those will be and to lower that. And then if we have monies, the 2004, we kind of put that into the capital budget plan because it's a significant, obviously, cost to the town to get those up and running. And that continues to be a work in progress. We're still working with some vendors. We're still trying to get some price quotes and try to refine those figures. So when we do our final budget in January and present that to the Board of Finance, hopefully we'll have some more concrete numbers of what that'll cost to implement that. Cameras. But the end result is we have to have those implemented by July, I believe, of 2022. So that's why everything's included in this next budget year. On the heels of that, car number 2 was in an accident, minor accident, but we still received some damage, which is going to have to be repaired. We were post-C, our post-C standards were reviewed by the state, and we were found to be in compliance with those. The stop sign at Rimmon Street, Prospect at Pershing, that was installed by Public Works. Our officers are currently monitoring that area. And basically just an educational enforcement right now. And so people get used to that new stop sign. And then obviously as time goes on, it'll be stricter enforcement to make sure people comply with that. Obviously, we've been preparing for the last couple of days for the winter storm that's upon us. I think we should be pretty much all set. Our vehicles are up and running, all the 4-wheel drives. And now it's just a matter of time to see what we get and how much. We're still dealing with some COVID concerns. I currently have 2 officers out on COVID concerns. One obviously is recovering from it, and then one's out as a precaution. One officer is still on light duty due to a workman's comp, on light duty at the department, but still not active duty. The one officer that has been out for a length of time, that person is returning, been in acting light duty capacity, but released to full duty, I believe tomorrow. So we're getting some bodies back, which will help us. One administration position remains unfilled. Obviously, the inspector position remains unfilled. And last week, I believe we received a donation, and I'd just like to give a great big thank you to State Rep Nicole Claridis and her sister, Demis Claridis, State Rep Demis Claridis. They gave a very generous donation to the department for us to use as needed for equipment programs, whatever we feel is necessary. So we're very grateful and thankful. And that was given in honor of their father, who passed away a short time ago. And Pete Claridis was always a great supporter of the Seymour community and beyond. And this donation on behalf of the Demis and Nicole just carry on his legacy, and we're very grateful for that. So thank you. And on the heels of that, obviously 2020 has been an unusual year with COVID and everything that's been occurring. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that has supported the police department and the community, the businesses, the organizations, and just the citizens themselves. They have been so gracious to us, and I know it goes a long way with the officers, the men and women of the police department, and many times it makes their job a lot easier coming to work. Just by the thank yous, the gift cards, the food that's been dropped off, and just a show of caring and support for the officers. So I thank everybody who has done that throughout the past year to support us. So that's all I have for now. I know there's some other things on the agenda. When we get to them, we'll explain later. So.
Thank you, Chief. Do any of the board members have any questions of the chief? Okay, I do not. Oh, John.
Good evening, Chief John Duke. I was just curious, as far as staffing levels between retirements and any other openings that we have. Are we fully staffed? Are we hiring? Do we have a list? Like, what's our status with that?
Chief Psychowski speaking. So technically we have 2 openings that are not filled, a deputy chief's position and then an inspector position. So I know the inspector position is in the process. So obviously, once that's filled, there'll be some bumping, and then obviously we'll be needing to hire someone to backfill, on the lower end, meaning entry level. And I'm hoping the same thing occurs with the deputy chief's position that I've been trying to backfill, and hopefully the same thing could happen. We backfill that, and then we're able to hire 2 bodies to get all that done. So we were in a South Central criminal justice testing process that ended, I believe, early fall. There is a list, but if and when we're ready to hire, I believe that's the list we will go by. And they usually do another testing process, I think, January, February timeframe, which, we'll probably get into that testing process to refresh that list. So it depends on really what we want to do as a department, community, and a board to backfill positions. So.
Thank you.
Any other board members have any questions or comments of the chief at this time? Yes, Commissioner Bitzel.
Yes, Commissioner Bitzel. Chief, last month we were reviewing your goals for 2020, and one of the things was hiring supernumeraries. Has anything been done to pursue that?
Again, that would all be, we have not really talked about that as a chief or a board, or I would like to, sure. Again, when we can look at all this together and do it one big package, if I believe we should always have supernumeraries at the back. And obviously that saves us on overtime. It's also extra bodies to have, such as this pandemic. So yeah, I mean, we can look at that if and when we do this collaboratively.
Well, once again, it was on the goals that we discussed last month, and you had mentioned that we could move forward with that, and I think we talked about moving forward. So I personally, if we're going to do it, like to see it start the process. I think we're all in agreement. So it was part of the goals to do it. So if you're asking for us to say yes or vote to approve it, whatever needs to be done, let's move forward. I don't want to be having this conversation again next month. Supernumeraries, if they're available out there, you're right. It saves overtime, and it helps work hours that other people, normally regular officers may not want to work. Sundays, night shifts. So unless any of the other board members disagrees, I'd like to see you move forward to try and hire a couple supernumeraries.
I pretty much will do that. I'll start looking into that process if you as a board give me that okay. I mean, technically you are the hiring authority for the town and the department, so I think I do need your approval to move forward on that. So.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
your position on this?
My position is that we should go out and look for supernumeraries if we possibly can. I've always been a supporter of supernumeraries, even with the other administration. I tried getting supernumeraries. I think it's a big asset to the department by having supernumeraries, and I think however we could do it, whether through advertising or whatever, just let people that are qualified to be a supernumerary know that we are interested in hiring them. That's my position. Any other board members have any positions on hiring of supernumeraries? Yes, Kyle.
If it's something that we need approval or that the chief needs approval for, I would say let's add it under new business and take a vote to it.
Okay, we will, under new business, we'll bring that up and make a motion and take a vote on that. We'll put it on the table and on the agenda, and we'll vote on it. Thank you. Any other board members have any questions of the chief at this time? Okay, I noticed that our first select woman is on with us at this time. I know she has a meeting at 7, I believe. If she has anything that she would like to add before she goes to her other meeting, she's more than welcome to.
Hi, Bob. Yeah, I'm in the middle of doing both meetings right now. So I'm listening to both, so I'll be jumping in, but I have nothing right now.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, moving on, commissioners' comments. My only comment, I'll go first. My only comment, yes, chief.
Before you go into Commissioner,
Bruno.
if I may, two things I forgot to mention. Obviously, Detective Matasowicz has been working on our e-citation program. That's where you get the printers and everything into the car, the computers, and then we'll start being able to complete our paperwork with motor vehicle infractions, et cetera, in the vehicle. That's nearly complete. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And then obviously, with the winter weather upon us, we're starting to enforce the winter parking ban. And obviously, we encourage residents to park off street if they can, but if not, then they should follow the rules and regulations that we have for the winter parking ban, especially with the pending snowstorm upon us this evening and in the future. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, chief, can you please put it on our site, reminding the people of the winter parking ban, and just make sure that the public is aware of it, because this is a new year. Last year, we got very little snow. But if you could just make sure that the public is aware of the parking ban.
Chair,
Yes.
if I may,
Yes, Anne Marie.
I know that the First Selectman's office has shared it on their website as well as their Facebook website about the parking on the even streets, as well as the parking ban that's in place. So we've been sharing a lot of that, as well as just shoveling out of the fire extinguishers for you guys.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And at heels of that, yes, we have been making those postings on our social media and getting them out there, as the First Select Woman stated, and we'll continue to enhance that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, under commissioners' comments, my comment would be, I personally want to thank, and I know that our commissioners probably do too, the Claridis family. They always have been always very kind to the Seymour Police Department. They support the Seymour Police Department, and I personally want to thank them for their donation. Any other comments from the commissioners? Just raise your hand if you have a comment. Kyle?
I just want to add to something here for to the chief here. We got some communication from a resident on the Skoke Rat Briarwood Barn Hill area about speeding in that area coming down the hill specifically, and they had some suggestions on adding stop signs and three-way stop signs and a couple of things. I'd like to right now, if it's possible, on each shift to just try and increase patrol there, and maybe some radar in those areas between Birchwood and the Briarwood area if possible.
Did you get that, Chief?
Commissioner,
Yes.
we'll
We'll take care of that. Yes.
take care of it.
Yes, Commissioner Bitzel?
I received the same information via an email, and the party was very detailed in explaining all the reasons why we need to look into it. And as Commissioner Kelly said, they did have some suggestions along with copies of maps. I would like us to do more than just put a car under the radar. I'd like to have us look into the two different options for stop signs that she outlined, and see if it makes sense. My understanding is on one side of the street, the sidewalk ends and it starts on the other side of the street. And it's a very difficult challenge to cross that road for adults, never mind children and bicycles. So I would hope that we would do a study, and not just radar is great, but that only comes and goes here and there. Stop signs in the right places, last a long time. So I'd like to see us look into that like we did the other one last month. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to make sure that the chief gets a copy of the email that you're talking about, so he knows exactly where to look at on Skoke Rat Street for the stop signs in other areas if he didn't get it. Yes, Dave?
I will forward that email tonight to the chief.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other commissioners have any comments at this time? If I miss your hand, just jump in, okay? Okay, thank you very much. Moving on, old business, evaluation update, and that should be with Deputy Chief Rinaldi, I believe.
Yes, Deputy Chief Rinaldi here. Evaluations are all done, with the exception of 3 officers. 2 of them were out on injury for a long length of time. There's a 3rd one that's on a special assignment, so we didn't do his either. But all the other evaluations, including me, are all done.
Through all those evaluations, did all the officers review those evaluations so they can be put in their personnel file?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and they signed off?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Board members have any questions on the evaluations of the personnel? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Training update. That also is Deputy Chief Rinaldi.
Okay, all firearms training has been completed with the exception of a few of us. We were supposed to shoot this weekend, but due to the weather conditions, it's been postponed. We finally got online with our vendor, where we're gonna go online and do training from 25 to 26 hours of research, which goes towards post credits. A majority of the department has started their training. We just had some issues with the vendor for some other officers. So we're just working on fixing that problem. And once that's done, everybody should be able to do their training online.
Okay, thank you. Would any of the commissioners have any questions of the Deputy Chief? Okay, moving on. Update on union negotiations. First Select Woman Anne Marie, can you give us?
So union negotiations, as you know, the contracts have been signed. They're ready to go. We did receive from the police union attorney Bento, we did receive some data or some language on the comp time. Chris Pelosi, myself are going to be looking at that and hopefully get that all together and back to the police union by the end of the month, before the new year, so we can have that in place for the new year. Once we have the verbiage, I will put it in front of the commissioner so you guys can look at it too and give us your thoughts as well.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Any commissioners have any questions? Did you all receive a copy? Did all the negotiate or the union contract so that you could put in your file? I know I did. Dave,
Yes.
you did. Kyle, Tom, John. Okay, that's a new updated contract, so we will be following that contract. Thank you.
You're welcome. That contract
Very
has been
much.
posted on our website as well.
Thank you. Thank you, First Selectwoman. Okay, K9 car. Chief, you have any updates on that?
So the only update I have, the expedition that is ordered, and I'm assuming it's going to the K9. The vendor, I guess Ford stopped making them or for a short period of time with everything going on, but or the 2020 cutoff date from what he told me. So we're going to get a new 2021 expedition for the price of a 2020. And delivery date, we're looking at end of January, early February is what they're expecting delivery of that vehicle.
Thank you, Chief. Any board members have any comments? Okay, see no comments at this time. Update on inspector's position, Chief.
Yeah, so we'll give you a quick recap here. The union agreed to go to South Central Criminal Justice. I've been in touch with Charles Sherwood, the director of South Central Criminal Justice. He sent some paperwork back out to me. I filled it out. I sent it back to him. Job description. We had some discussion on what the job entails. He's currently working with his vendor to start getting the test in order, if you will, and getting materials for the test. There was a sign-up sheet, 2-week sign-up sheet. As I explained last month, there were 7 people that signed up for that. 3 commanders, 3 detectives, 1 sergeant. But now we have a little situation that we're trying to work through and rectify, if you will. I had discussion with the union president, and I'm not sure. We probably should discuss it tonight, go into executive session and kind of explain that situation to you, and then, you know, collectively see what we're going to do to rectify it. I believe, speaking with the union president the other day, and I think he was kind of in agreement to do that. So I don't know if he wants to step in or.
We're fine with that. If you want to go into executive session, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. I'll take that under advisement for later on this meeting. Update on COVID protocols. I have to say, I read through, I believe Kyle and you, Chief, got together and made this list up on the protocols for COVID. Is that correct?
Yeah, so as mentioned last meeting, to put stuff in writing and to do it more formalized. A lot of that stuff we have been doing and been doing, but we put it as you requested. So Commissioner Kelly sent me some documents, and then I pretty much worked on it and put a lot of that together. And obviously, it's a work in progress. As things change, we have to modify it, rectify it, we will. And but that's basically what we have been going by and implementing. So
Okay, Chief, it is a 9-page. Yes, Kyle.
I'd just like to add to that we have been meeting regularly as department heads, and we're trying to stay on top of it and in communication with each other. So like today, we got some new documentation down from the state, and I forwarded that out. So as needed, I believe the chief will update it, and so everybody's on the same page. But we're where we should be, I think.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Chief. On this, Chief, could you just make sure? Yes, Dave, 1 minute. Chief, could you just make sure that all the employees, the Seymour Police Department, get a copy of this, and then any updates that come forward, so that everyone knows exactly what our protocols are and what their responsibilities are also. Yes, Dave.
Yeah, Commissioner Bitso, you're right, Chairman. There's a lot of information there in the 9 pages, and it's very well written and documented. Did we write this policy, or did we pull this information from another town or from the state, and then kind of customize it for our department? I'm just curious how we came up with such a detailed report so quick, and we didn't have one for 8 months.
well, again, Chief Psychology speaking, we had stuff, and we had stuff. Emails went out. Obviously, I had stuff already, and but no, anytime you know, policies and procedures, you know, you don't recreate the wheel if you don't have to. I mean, that's information sharing amongst departments, amongst chiefs. There's many discussions. I've been in many meetings with fellow chiefs, and so there's always information sharing, if you will, and then obviously you're able to use you know, as you modify it for your department. So it's really a combination of things that occurred there. Yes.
Any other board members have any questions or comments on that? Okay, thank you. Moving on, update on CPO position. Chief?
Yeah, so nothing has changed since last month. Last month, we collectively decided, the board, I brought it to the board, and it was decided to move that position back to patrol, back in the regular patrol, until a lot of this COVID stuff goes away, and then we could reinstitute that program if and when a lot of this, the numbers drop, and it's safe for him to go out and deal with the public in an efficient and manner, and start working that program again. But I really don't see it changing anytime soon. You know, they're still saying after the first year, there's going to be spikes. Obviously, with the vaccine coming out, that might start lowering some of this stuff. But right now, that individual was put back into patrol, and you know, until we could do it, as I said, safely, I think that's where we'll keep it, and then you know, we'll continue to evaluate, and as soon as we can put that position back and do it effectively, we will, and safely.
Thank you. Any board members have any comments or questions? Okay, next, patrol reports. I'd just like to say, I want to thank, I believe it was Detective Manisovich who put this on the reports now, which we were only missing was days they worked and days they were on the road. And I want to thank you for putting that on. So now we could compare to whatever it is. Any board members have any comments or questions concerning patrol reports? Okay, I don't see any. Oh, yes, Tom.
Commissioner Bennett, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just wondering, it looks like a spike in these larcenies from motor vehicles in town, and it seems that there's obviously some law enforcement interaction. Is there a plan in place? Is there something, are we collaborating with other law enforcement agencies in the area on this issue?
Commissioner Bennett, yeah, we've, just like the rest of the state, everybody's getting hit with these car break-ins. Third Shift's been pretty proactive with their patrol, and they've come upon a few incidences where they interrupted the car break-ins. Unfortunately, we can't pursue them. We try to stop them, but once they flee, we broke off the pursuit. We have done in the past some operations, and then we're looking into the future to try it again. But unfortunately, you know, the thing is, even if we try to stop them and they flee, we're not going to chase them.
Understandable, and I've seen that. It's a very dangerous situation for a minor crime here, and it seems like it's getting out of hand. Not saying just for Seymour, but statewide. It's
I mean,
we're not the only ones.
I mean, we're trying our best, and like I said, Third Shift's been pretty proactive. They have come upon a few of the crimes. Unfortunately, once they take off, you know, I mean, we've processed some crime scenes. Unfortunately, they're juvenile, so we're not getting any hits. But we're trying our best out there.
No, thanks. I did notice that, and it shows that the officers are being very proactive with that. Usually you see that these things go unnoticed all night long, but I'm glad to see that patrol is actually, they're out there and they're doing a good job. So thanks for that.
And I also want to say the Detective Bureau has come out on a few of them. They've, you know, followed up the best they can. But again, unfortunately, majority of them are done by the juveniles. Even if we dust for prints or swab or whatever, we're not going to get any hits until they at least turn 18. They need, you know, the process after that.
Yep. No, thank you. Thanks.
Welcome.
Great job, by the way, too, on that.
Any board members have any other questions or concerns about the patrol reports? My comments is I could see that the Third Shift is very, very busy. And it appears they're doing their work out there to protect all the citizens and everything for all the patrols are all 3 shifts. But I noticed this month, the 3rd shift has been really busy, looking at different things. So I want to thank all 3 shifts for doing an outstanding job this past month.
I mean, if, just one thing on, for patrol, and I'm going to include the Detective Bureau with this. We did have, a couple weeks ago, 3 businesses broken into, 2nd and 3rd shift. 3rd shift did a great job in identifying a suspect. Detective Bureau came out to process the scene. Detective Anderson also assisted with the identification. We do have a suspect and able to identify a suspect. We're just waiting for some arrest warrants.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Dave.
With so much activity on the 3rd shift, do we need to take a look at increasing our presence, our manpower on the 3rd shift by
Well,
1 or 2?
we
I'm
could-
just throwing this out there.
We could talk, if you want to talk about that during executive session. I prefer not to talk about that right now.
Okay.
Any other comments concerning patrol? Okay. Moving on. Detective report.
Yeah, the detective, excuse me, the Detective Bureau, they've been, they're being kept busy. They did close out a few cases this month. Hopefully, we're going to be closing out the 34 incident on Lake Ousatonic. Other than that, we also solved a sexual assault case.
Okay. Any comments or questions concerning detective report? Deputy Chief, I have a question. We do have an individual in a special unit at this time to handle serious cases, basically a lot of drug cases and things like that. When our department is aware of one, do we turn that over to that special individual's task force to handle it?
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay. Any
And
other questions concerning detective report?
I could tell you more about that in executive session too. For not.
Oh boy, I was hoping to get out of here early. Okay, moving on, K9 report. Any questions concerning K9 report?
I didn't get the K9 report from Officer Gallo due to the fact he's been out sick.
He's out sick?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any, yes, John?
Yeah, the other officer he's out sick. He wanted me to relay that he wasn't able to do his canine report this month, but he will have it for next month for you.
Okay.
We also did receive a generous donation from the Cleardish family in honor of their father. We would like to put that towards equipment for the new canine unit through the Hero Canine program. That program raises money for equipment. So that'll help us with a bunch of stuff for that vehicle. So we'll put that towards that. We would also like to post that on the police department website. I can get that information over to the chief for him to okay that to go on the department website to get it out there for a little bit more fundraising for equipment for the vehicle, if that's okay with him.
Okay, thank you, John. That money should be used for the K9. That's what it was donated for. So make sure that that money is used for what the family donated it
Thank you.
for. Okay, thank you. SRO and CPO report.
Okay, no SRO or CPO report due to the fact that there's been no school. And then right now we don't have a CPO.
Okay, car report.
Our report, everything's up and running.
And how many cars, out of all the 4 new cars that we have, 3 of them are 3 of them in service now?
I believe,
Two, and the third one will be in service, hopefully by the, they tell me Friday or early Monday or Tuesday. So we're getting
Okay,
there.
okay, just notify when that 4th car comes in to look at that. I know one of the commissioners are saying that if we order cars in this upcoming year in 2021, that one of them would be a K9 car at that time. And I believe that's a good suggestion that was made at our last meeting. So we'll look at it. We'll wait until that new car comes in end of January, beginning of February. At this time, I'm trying to do something a little different tonight. Instead of just making a motion for every single item like that, I just went from A to E, Patrol Detective, K9, SRO, CPO, and car report. Could I have a motion to accept those reports as presented to the board? Motion by Kyle, second by Tom. Discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Oppose? Abstention, so carried. Thank you very much. Okay, under new business, one of them was, and we're going to have to place on the table at going out to look at hiring supernumerary. So could I have this placed on the agenda at this time, hiring of supernumeraries? Motion by Commissioner Bitzel. Do I have a second? Second by Kyle Kelly. All in favor, raise your hand. Oppose, abstentions, so carried 5-0. Okay, Dave, you brought this up before, so you want to just make a motion?
Yes, as I said last month, when we were reviewing the chief's goals, one of the things was on there was to hire supernumeraries. So I'm bringing it up again. And also, I think, Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, you said we're also down 1 or 2 patrol positions. Is that correct?
Currently, we're down 2 bodies, so
Okay.
on the 41. So it all depends, obviously, how the board moves forward with backfilling positions, and then
I understand.
whether we backfill them on the back end.
Okay. So we're down 2 positions in patrol, or 2 positions, and then we'd like to try and hire a couple supernumeraries if we could. I'd like to suggest that we get going on both of those areas, because we have at least 1 promotion coming up with the inspector's position, and that's going to start a domino effect of other promotions, possibly. I would think probably definitely. And so I hate to see us be down 3 positions before, we blink an eye. So my recommendation is to move forward and try and fill the 2 full-time positions, as well as pursue supernumerary opportunities.
Chief, what are the 2 full-time positions that are open? Patrol?
So currently, we have 1 admin deputy chief position, and then obviously the inspector position. So if the board chooses to fill those positions from within, then as Commissioner Bitzel said, there could be a bumping, obviously some promotions, and then you backfill the promotions, and there's a bumping clause up, a bumping that goes up, and then you backfill on the back end, just like we have in the past. So those will be entry level at the bottom, even after the bumping and if there are promotions, et cetera.
Yes, Kyle?
I make a motion to put a posting for certified officers for 2, to hire some part-time supers and hold off on the other 2 openings, if you will, until 1, the inspector position is filled, and 2, a final decision's made.
Motion by Kyle,
Chief's position.
second by John. Discussion?
I have something to say on that.
Yes,
If we wait, there's a 6-month process, isn't there, to hiring somebody and getting them trained, sending them through the training? We're going to lose a lot of time. We'll be going without those positions for probably anywhere from 6 months to a year before we finally get these guys up in training and get them to the proper, court, get them to the proper training courses they have to take if they're not already certified. So just something to think about.
yes, Tom?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Bennett, just clarification on this. Is it the board's responsibility to recruit, or is it the board's responsibility to hire? So in other words, a two-part question here, how come we don't have an active list that we could draw from? And isn't it just the board's decision to say whether they're going to fill the spot or not? And I'm just unclear on whether we got to make a motion to recruit. I think that should be an ongoing process all the time. We always should have an active list, shouldn't we?
Yes. Yes, we should, but the motion right now is to go out and hire supernumeraries, not regulars at this point. So that's what the motion is at this point, to authorize the chief to go out to look for supernumeraries, and then we'll discuss that other issue, Tom, that you just brought up. Any other?
Right.
Yes, Tom.
And Mr. Chairman, I'm not disagreeing with the motion. I think I just want to be proactive with this and say, why don't we have active lists going on? It's a Commissioner Bitso's point there. We're losing time all the time because now we got to go and actually recruit. And I don't understand why we talked about this the first of last year. We're recruiting people and we don't have a list now. So I just think we should be proactive and have a list. I'm all for the motion also, though, to get this going.
Okay, hey, Chief, could you just clarify, do we have a list we could choose from now for regular positions? We could choose off of, and you could present them, those in front of the board, so we can make the choice of the two candidates that we would like.
Chief Sakowski speaking. So what we do have a list. So that's why I've been getting into signing the department up on the South Central entry levels. So we did it in February. We did it in August. Obviously, we have not backfilled. So the last testing process was August, September, October timeframe. That list is current. And again, if we're going to, I would start looking at that list, see who's qualified, and start going through that hiring process. So as soon as you give me the okay, we can start that. The only thing is we're going to have to obviously, you could try getting certified as we have in the past, certified officers that either want to come over or retired. We had some luck with obviously Officer Marino coming over after retiring from the state police. But so we could look at certified that want to transfer, certified that retire, such as Officer Marino, and then comes here, and or entry level. And we can look at all those and, see who fits best with the department through the selection process, through the hiring process. And then obviously it comes to the board and you guys have the ultimate decision. So we would have to see what academies are running, where they're running. Obviously COVID has put a lot of damper on stuff. However, there are some academies running online, and then obviously they're trying to accommodate with obviously things they have to do in person, such as defensive tactics, defensive driving, firearms. So the academies are working through all that through COVID, but we'll have to start those processes if given the okay.
Yeah, I think the commissioners are very clear that we would like to start drawing the ones off the list. If you could present the qualified candidates to the board for interviews as soon as possible, no later than February, and hopefully by next January, by this coming January, so we could interview the candidates and look for positions. Yes, Kyle.
Just for the record, there was a motion on the floor. This was still under discussion, so we're still in the motion, which I made earlier.
Yes. So a motion was made to go out to try hiring supernumerary police officers. Is there any other discussion on that motion? All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Abstention? So carried. And just continue on that other issue. Yes, Dave.
I have a question on something the chief said. I just want my own information. Chief, you had said that for the inspector's position and the deputy chief's position, if we promote within versus going outside the department, I don't think that's an option according to the contract. We have to promote from within, if I'm not mistaken. Am I wrong on that?
Chief Sakowski speaking. I personally would like to see that promoted within. I think it has great benefits to that.
My question is, we don't have a choice?
No, you do. The deputy chief position, which is admin position,
Okay.
doesn't necessarily state it has to be within, but
But
obviously I recommend that.
But the inspector does. Okay, thank you.
Inspector is by CBA contractual, it has to be.
Okay, Chief, what we'd like to do is, from the current list that is activated for hiring of new personnel, if we cannot get certified personnel, please go through that list, how we do it in the past, so that we could move forward as soon as possible, so that when academy does open up, we have personnel ready to go. Can you follow through on that, Chief?
Mr. Chair, could I just inject
Yes.
for a minute? I've been looking for seats for the academy. Right now, January 8th is the next class. After that, another class won't be until June at the Meriden Academy. I've looked for satellites. They're all in session right now. And I've reached out to all of them if they're going to be doing it again, having more classes to notify me. So right now, based on the state, the next class is in June. Unless one of the satellites.
Next class is January or June?
June
June.
4th, that they're taking people. So
Okay.
unless a satellite, right now, 4 out of the 6 satellites are in session right now.
Okay, can you try to get 2 openings for Seymour?
I already put in for it. I'm just waiting for a response.
Okay.
Put in for 3.
And that's as soon as we could send somebody to the academy, correct?
Yes, right now, unless one of the satellites starts a class earlier than that, we could get them to the satellite academies.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Board members have any other comments or questions concerning that? Only question I have, or the only concern I have, I agree with Commissioner Bennett. The running list should be keep going off of that list. If we're going to be short of people, let's try filling in positions as soon as possible. This will help our Seymour Police Department, also help making sure that we have, we're cutting down on some of the overtime. Sorry, union, but we got to try doing what's right for the town also, and the police department. Yes, Dave?
Shouldn't we advertise and add to that list? I mean, I'm sure the list we have is probably old, right?
October.
Okay.
That's what the chief said, or the deputy chief said. The current list that we have is since October, which is only 2 months ago.
For new recruits.
Am I correct?
Yes, the test was given September, October timeframe. I believe it was finalized in October. So that list is current. So that list will stay current until they give the next test, which will probably be, they start advertising in January, February timeframe. That next test is usually given February, March timeframe. And so that's generally what we do twice a year. We try to get on that list. I'm not sure who's left on those lists because, usually when test, there's usually 5, 6, 7, 8 departments. So a lot of those candidates, first week of January, we'll try to get it sooner. But like I said, with the holidays and everything in between, it gets a little cumbersome. But
okay. Yes, John.
I may have missed this under old business, but are we going to address the letter that we received from the union in last month's meeting? Now that we've had time to review it and kind of digest it a little bit, or?
No, we're not. That's on the advice of the attorney.
Okay.
We're not going to address that.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
Okay. Next on the agenda is, sorry, other business. Any board members have any other business? Okay, seeing no other business, Any commissioners? I'm going to start from the top and work down. Commissioner Bennett, do you have any comments?
Commissioner Bennett, no, Mr. Chair, I'm good.
Okay. Commissioner Bitstow?
Yes, I'd also like to thank the Clearis family for their generous donations and more importantly, their continued support, their family's continued support of the town of Seymour as well as the Seymour Police Department. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Duke?
No, I have nothing at this time.
Commissioner Kelly?
I just have a question on the K9 vehicle. Chief, I heard two different things. One, that the expedition that was on order is for the K9, and somebody else said that we're going to look at it next month as part of the two vehicles for this upcoming year, or the year we're currently in. I know we spoke about that scenario last month, but I thought I heard the chief say that the K9, that the expedition was going to be given to the K9. So I'm just looking for some clarification.
Could you clarify that, Chief?
Commissioner Kelly, you were a little broken up, so and soft. So if you could repeat some of that because you went in and out.
I apologize. I'm having internet issues up here tonight. I'm confused on the K9 vehicle. I thought I heard you say that the expedition that is currently ordered is going to K9. And then there was a discussion a little later on that that was going to be looked at as part of the two vehicles that to still be purchased for this year. I'm just wondering which way we're going, what if you've made a decision if that expedition is going to K9 or if we're going to look at something else.
Okay, Commissioner Kelly, my apologies again, but you're all broken up but I think I got the gist of what you're looking for. So I said, when we discussed K9 car, I think I said, well, I'm assuming that's where it's going. And then I gave you the update where that new vehicle is. That new vehicle expedition is due in, according to the vendor, late January, early February, providing there's no other delays for whatever reason, production, COVID, they lose staff, whatever in the factory. I think the chair brought up about looking at a vehicle when Officer Oskowski brought up about getting equipment and everything through grant money. And but right now there's one, just to clarify, there's one vehicle that's coming in. It was an expedition that is due January or February timeframe. And then it kind of sounds like you as a board want to give that to the new K9. The two I talked about were in the new 21-22 budget to replace vehicles that are probably going to need replacing next year in the 21-22 budget. So that's, and then obviously we still have vehicles that are being outfitted that have been at the vendors and those have been delayed. One's coming in next week. If not Friday, early next week, I talked about that. And then one is sitting at the other vendor waiting to be installed once they get all the equipment. So that's the update on the vehicles. You able to receive that, Commissioner? Or?
Yeah, I got it. I guess so. We'll make the decision on where the vehicle is going to be assigned.
My assumption is that you guys were leaning towards that. Yes. You know, obviously through many months of discussion, I believe we should not be replacing that car at this time. I think it still has use of life, another another year or so based on mileage and stuff. But there's been many months of discussion about moving that car towards the new K9 vehicle. I discussed last month about maybe reviewing some stuff, obviously with the upcoming budget, and so I personally think there needs to be more discussion before we actually commit. But that's just my opinion. I know we all have our opinions and differences of opinions, but that's where we are.
Okay, since the vehicle isn't in yet, it'll be in by our next meeting. I think the board then will make a decision on where that vehicle should be assigned, because there's some that feel that it should be a K9 vehicle and some that feel that we should wait for the K9 vehicle. So we'll wait to the when the vehicle comes in, and we'll put it on the agenda and make that decision at that time. Do any board members have any other questions concerning that? Okay, hearing no other or seeing no other hands being raised. Union business, not mandatory. You don't have to speak if you don't want, John. It's not mandatory.
I would refer to our attorney, Bento.
Okay. Attorney Bento?
So we were anticipating that we would deal with the letter tonight. Is that something that's going to be discussed in executive session and that we will get some follow-up on?
Say that again.
So is the union's letter something that is going to be discussed in executive session, and B, will we get some follow-up on that?
No. That's not what the executive session is about. Any other union business?
I don't believe so.
Yes, Tom.
Commissioner Bennett, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I just had a question. I've been thinking about this. Wondering what the union's position is on those. I think it was 3 officers that aren't getting an evaluation this year. I'd like the union's input on that, because if any of these officers go for promotion, I think it's required, number one, by contract, that they do get an evaluation. And number 2, if they apply for any promotional positions, I think an evaluation is part of the process. So I'm just wondering what the union's position is on that, if they're satisfied that those 3 individuals aren't going to get an evaluation.
John, I'll defer to you on that one.
Yeah, if they're going for promotions, I would say they need to get their evaluations done. That is part of the evaluation or the process for testing. I understand why they haven't at this point been done, but if they are in the process, they should be getting their evaluations. That's fair to everybody.
I believe the officer that is assigned outside our police department could be evaluated by his superiors there and send it to the police department. So, I mean, it's very easy to get that evaluation done. That evaluation should be done immediately. At least that one should be. So we should all try getting all evaluations done at the same time, so we don't have to worry about who we owe evaluation from each year. If they're all done at the same time, we know yearly when they're all going to be done. So that would be my recommendation, is contact the superiors where that person is assigned and asked to evaluate that officer on his working.
Okay,
If that's okay with the rest of the members.
I wasn't aware. Go ahead, Chief.
Yes, Chief.
Chief Sakowski, yes, the deputy chief and I have discussed that with the officer that's placed out. We discussed that about having them do the evaluation, and we just haven't had time before this. Obviously, when we reviewed all these evaluations and we went through the list, the deputy chief just explained tonight that everybody was done except those 3, and that's why. So he gave the explanation, but we did have that discussion about the one that's placed out, which I think is very reasonable and should be done, as you discussed. So the other 2, we're going to have to do the best we can based on priors, I guess, and then coming back. But just to clarify, the testing process evaluations are not these evaluations. The testing process says the chief and deputy chief will do their evaluation. and we will do that in accordance with the CBA. But that evaluation is based on, it's kind of twofold, you know, their current position and then how they'll be in the new position. And then, you know, we look at that collectively, and then that's what we base our evaluations on, just for the testing process. So.
Good.
Yes, Kyle.
Is it
Okay,
fair
Kyle.
to say that we can get at least the 2 evaluations done from the officers that are, one, I guess, is working light duty and one's coming back to work on Friday in the next week or the next 2 weeks prior to the beginning of the year? I don't think that's a hard thing to accomplish.
Thank you, Kyle. I also like to suggest that when we do go through promotions and the board members do look at the complete files of those officers, and an evaluation in those files would help the commissioners make a decision with the evaluation's help. So, I mean, we do need the evaluations in their files. So when we do interview them, we use that for part of the promotion process. So I agree, we should get these done as soon as possible. Yes, Tom.
Commissioner Bennett, Mr. Chairman, did I hear that correctly, that there's an evaluation done on how the deputy chief and the chief think that person will do in that position? Did I hear that correctly? We're evaluating somebody how we think they may do in that position? Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
That's a good,
Yeah,
that's a good question.
What we do is we evaluate them currently, and then, you know, there's like 5 or 6 topics that we use and have used, and then there's a scoring factor with that, and then that's what we have done. Yes.
I don't know. Am I the only one thinking crazy here that how do you evaluate somebody and how you think they're going to do in that position? I don't know. I see that as very subjective.
Yep.
In that very hard to rate somebody on that. Maybe I'm thinking crazy here and I'm not right, but
I personally agree with you, Tom. I don't understand how anybody could project the future on how somebody would perform in that position. So, I mean, I don't think that would be fair to the people that are in the running for that position. That's just
I
my
kind of
opinion.
agree. Without
Any other board
data,
members have any?
I agree with Tom. Without data from an evaluation, that's real information, not speculation. I think it's kind of backwards.
Yeah. What I'm saying, it might have misspoke, but what I'm trying to tell you is that we look collectively at everything. We look at their everyday performance. We review their reports, everything that comes across our desk, their evaluations. You know, we kind of see their work. Obviously, the deputy chief gets all that paperwork every day, and then at times I review those reports. So that's what I'm kind of referring to. It's the combination, collective, every day. You know, maybe even speaking to supervisors, but mostly, you know, what we see in their performance here on a daily basis. That's where it's all at. Just like any supervisor would.
Yes, Dave.
I hate to even continue this conversation. I'm a little frustrated because there was a committee formed back in February, I think, to develop the evaluation process and forms. It was done I think it was done in 30 days and delivered to the administration. And here we are in the middle of December, and we're not completely done yet. So I think we just need to find a way to finish this process by the end of the year.
It will be. You know, like I said, there's a couple of loose ends to tie up that were beyond our control with people being out, and now they are back. So I believe that's what the deputy chief has to work through. And we already know, what we're going to do, and we had those discussions. So, yeah, I mean, people come back to work, then we have to address that.
Any other board members have any comments or questions? My only other comment is that whether an officer is out for whatever reason, you still can't evaluate him for the performance he did before he went out. I mean, performance isn't going to change when he's out. So I can't understand why you can't, if a person is out sick or out injured, why you can't give an evaluation of that individual before that person became ill or injured.
I mean, Mr. Chair, I feel, well, the one officer was out for a while, 16 months, I believe it was. Only in a position of a supervisor, I think only 3-4 months. I mean, would it be fair? I don't know. I mean, supervisors haven't been able to evaluate them for 16 months. I mean, I don't know. That's on the assumption I went under, that due to the fact of his long length of time that he was out. But I'll have him evaluated. I'll have the other one done too. And to Commissioner Bennett, I'll notify the supervisor of the officer. It's a special assignment, and I'll get an evaluation from them. And that's all I can tell you. I mean, I apologize. I'll take blame for it.
Okay, thank you.
Again.
Any board members have any other comments or questions? Okay, thank you very much. Next, I'm going to refer this to our attorney. We have executive session to discuss attorney-client privilege correspondence received from the town attorney. That's on the agenda. Yes, John.
Just going back to the letter real quick. We sent it in last month. It wasn't read, and we were hoping to get some feedback tonight of where this is going to be going. Do you have a time frame of when you may be getting back to us with some kind of update?
I'll refer this to the town attorney. Brian, could you respond to that? You're on mute.
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. What's
John?
Okay, John.
So we gave a letter last month, and it wasn't read. And this month, there was no update as well. Can you tell us when you'd be giving us an update to where this investigation would be going?
Well, you provided a letter to the commission, and there is no update that needs to be provided or is mandated to be provided by the commission. No response is required by the commission, frankly, either.
Okay, because I mean, we're under the impression that from the beginning of this investigation, you were representing the chief and the board, and we would like to see some resolution from that letter. So somehow we need an answer of what you guys are going to do with the letter. It was a complaint. It wasn't just a letter sent in to say, here's the thing.
All I can say.
We'll discuss that with Attorney Bento.
Okay.
Well, I could say I have turned that over to that. It didn't appear to be a complaint. It was an opinion. That letter, if you read that letter, was an opinion of the union. It didn't say this is a complaint. We would like this resolved. So I mean, I'm just referring this to the town attorney. So whatever he recommends, that's what we will do.
If Mr. Bento can step in and.
So if we have to change the format, we will. If the board didn't recognize that that was an actual complaint that we were alleging, then as Brian said, maybe we could speak about it offline, because we were under the impression that the board wanted to digest it last meeting, that we would have an update today. So we're a little surprised about that it's not going to even be addressed. But
and I apologize for that. All I could say is that the attorney stated that the board does not have to take any action on that letter. So I'm just following what the attorney is advising this board.
And I think John's point is well taken too, because, and no disrespect to Attorney Leclerc either, that was one of the things that we've pointed out through the beginning of this process, that it gets a little gray for us, that we're not sure who is representing the chief and who is representing the board, because I know at different times we've had Ben Proto represent the board. So that's what gives us some trepidation, that we're not really sure who is representing who and if there's any conflict. But again, the decision has been made. Attorney Leclerc and we'll speak about it.
The town attorney's office represents the town of Seymour, all of its departments, agency, boards, and commissions, including the police commission of this town.
That is correct.
And I think throughout the process, though, that you've also represented the chief, and there is a potential conflict, because I don't think you could wear two hats.
Okay. Hopefully you, all I could say is that if you two talk to each other and whatever is told to the board to do, that's what we will do. Don't want to infringe in not doing what we're supposed to do, but whatever the town attorney and you discuss, hopefully, and if it's going to be discussed, it will be put on the agenda. Okay. Now, town attorney, we have executive session, I stated, to discuss attorney-client privilege, correspondence received from the town attorney. There is another issue that the union would like to go in executive session about, I believe, concerning Sergeant Martin. Can we do that tonight?
If someone wanted to add another executive session to the agenda, they could to discuss this. But if you're having discussions about the appointment, or can be done in executive session, however, you have to notify the employee, and that employee, he or she, has the right to request that be done at an open meeting, that discussion, and not in executive session, so that he and the members of the public can hear what you're talking about.
Okay, we do have the employee here today with his concern. So if he agrees to do it in open session or executive session, that's it. Well, he could only request it be an open session, correct?
Yes, if it's an executive session, it wouldn't be appropriate to have him in executive session. He can request, if you're going to speak about if this is to discuss about the appointment of Sergeant Martin, you can do that in executive session, but he, as the employee, has the right to request that be done in an open meeting and not in executive session.
Would I have to place this on the table, on the agenda?
Absolutely, you'd have to place that. We should technically go into executive session to discuss the correspondence, come out, and then at that time you can add that to a motion, as a motion, if you still want to, or if you feel it's appropriate to do it tonight.
Okay, thank you. Okay, board members, could I have a motion to go in executive session to discuss client privilege correspondence received from the town attorney? Motion by Dave. Do I have a second? Second by.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the motion has to include the individuals that are going into executive session, please. And that would be all members of the commission, the first select woman, and myself from the town attorney's office. And then it's the chief or deputy chief, if you wish.
Okay, it should be all the members, the town attorney, the first select woman, and I believe the chief should be in there to give his explanation. That's the motion. Can I have that motion? Motion by Dave.
No, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Is it appropriate for the chief to be in that?
What's that?
Should the chief be included? I'm questioning it.
The town attorney just said so.
He
No.
said
I
if-
said
if
it's
we
up to you.
choose.
It's up to
Oh,
your
it's up to
pleasure.
us. Oh,
Yes,
okay. I
yes.
thought you said, okay, I thought you said include the chief.
I
Okay.
said, and the chief or deputy chief if you wish.
Oh, okay. No, then it'll be just the board members, the attorney, and the first select person in executive session on this matter. Could I have that motion? Motion by Dave. Second by Kyle. We're going to go in executive session at 7:50. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? Abstention, so carried.
Okay, you're good.
Okay, thank you very much. At this, just look for, oh, there she is. Okay, I'd like to make a motion and come out of executive session at 8:18. No action, if so. All in favor, raise your hand. Oppose? Abstentions, so carried. We're out of executive session and we're not going to be taking any action concerning that. There is an issue, basically, Brian, do you want to just explain the issue, how it should be worded?
Well, Mr. Chairman, if someone wanted to add something to the agenda to discuss regarding an officer, who I understand is Sergeant Martin, someone can make such a motion to add to the agenda. You'd have to put it on, and then a decision would have to be made whether you would like to discuss that in executive session, discuss that issue involving the appointment to a position. Detective Martin would have, or Sergeant Martin, I'm sorry, would have the opportunity at that point to request it be done in public session. Should someone want to proceed on the agenda at this time with that versus taking no action this evening on that and handling it internally.
Okay, basically, the chief did write a letter to the union asking them their position on it, and the union has yet to write back to the chief. So basically, you have to wait for the union to get back to the chief, to answer the chief. The chief did ask the question, and the union has not responded to the chief's question. John, did you want to say something? Go ahead,
Yes, I
John.
would. Yes, I would. I had a conversation with the chief and the deputy chief the other day. I explained my self there. My feeling is it's in the chief's lap. It's not a union issue at this point. So until the chief makes a decision, the union does not have an issue right now until he makes his decision. I didn't respond in an email because I talked to him on the phone.
Chief, did you get a response?
So let's explain here. So I sent the email out. He did not respond in writing. We called him, the deputy chief and I. We were on speakerphone, and basically he said the union's really not going to take a position because he agreed. He's in the same dilemma that we're in. So we kind of agreed to try to work this out together, but it was discussed that we would bring it here tonight to the board and see how the board feels. So, there's a situation where someone's eligible or based on not signing up for the list. There was, the employees claiming there are circumstances which prevented him from doing so. And so, 7 people signed up. So I think either way, you're going to have either 7 grievances or 1 grievance. So that's to put it in a nutshell. And, that's kind of what we're facing. So, we always say, try to work together, work collaboratively, collectively. I did that, I think, by reaching out to the union, trying to get their input and what their, put them part of the process and part of the solution. I said to John, I said, you guys always come with issues, but, you need to be part of the solution with the resolution And, it seems like the union doesn't want to do that at this point in time. They just want me to make the decision. I'm trying to do it collectively and collaboratively to avoid a lot of stuff here right from the get-go. So again, you're probably going to get 1 grievance or 7 grievances. The officer in his email back to me, he claimed several things, but he claimed something about a previous ruling. I don't have that previous ruling. I haven't had time to look for that previous ruling. I asked the union for that previous ruling. They have not provided it. And I said, even to Sergeant Martin, I said an email back to him. I said, if you have that ruling, please forward it to me. And maybe that will help me make a more informed decision if there's a previous ruling with a similar case. I don't believe it's apples to apples. I think it's apples and oranges, maybe similar, but not the same exact case. And that's what I need to review. So until I get some of that paperwork, then, maybe that'll help me. But that's why we bring it here tonight to, get more input. But according to Officer Oskowski just a few minutes ago, I don't think they're going to take a position. So I'm either going to get 7 grievances or 1 grievance, in my opinion. That's how that's going to be resolved.
Okay, John? You're on mute.
So,
Okay.
so as the chief and I, we spoke, I don't know the circumstances, if he sent an email, if he did, he didn't, if it was received. So the union is not going to make that decision just shooting from the hip. Okay, we don't know the facts. So until we know the facts, it's in the chief's lap. That's what we discussed. And the chief is working on it as we discussed. He's working on that side of it. So once the facts are presented, then we can go forward.
Thank you, Kyle.
I'm just trying to get my, hold on, apologize. Just trying to wrap my finger. What facts are we talking about? The email traffic that went back and forth, the text message screenshots. I don't understand what's going on either side, right? Either chief put them on the list or union tell them not to put them on the list.
If I may, I think what John's trying to express is it puts the union in an untenable position. Our obligation is to represent all the members. And as a function of the process and the collective bargaining agreement, it's the chief's choice. We have to react to it because it puts us in a no-win situation. And we're appreciative. Listen, we don't want to create the appearance of we don't appreciate that he's looking for solutions collaboratively, but we just can't make that decision here because then ultimately it will be our decision. And that's going to be something that's very difficult to explain to all of our members. So we would much rather say, chief, it's an uncomfortable decision, you have to make it, and then we have to react to it. Because if the dynamic is flipped and we say this is what you should do, then it was our decision. So again, it's not that we're trying to be difficult, it just puts us in an absolute no-win situation.
I understand what you're saying, but I don't see, and I'm speaking for myself, I don't see it as a absolute no-win situation. I see it as a chance to work together and figure out a solution. He's the person we're talking about is still a union member. So you're still going to have grievances regardless. So why not figure out a way to just handle this now so it's fair for everybody?
Yes,
Does that
Anne
not
Marie.
make sense, or is it me being crazy?
Anne Marie.
I can follow this. I understand what everybody's saying, but I'm agreeing with Commissioner Kelly here. Why can't we just come to a common ground where we all can come up where everybody makes out here? If it's 7 grievances or 8 grievances, as Chief Sikowski keeps saying, if it's because, Martin didn't have a chance to put his name on the list, and I'm just asking the question, don't kill the newbie. Is there a reason why his name can't go on the list now?
What?
Like I said,
I have an idea. This is just a suggestion. Can we post the list for a week and take it back down? The current list that's already there. put it up for another week. If anybody else wants to sign up, they can do so. And then take it down in a week.
Yes,
That was,
John.
Chief Sakowski, that was one option that was discussed, but again, I still think you're gonna face grievances, if you will, but I'm not sure if everybody knows what happened, but I mean, we're kind of jumping into it without maybe explaining the beginnings, but
It sounds like sorry to interrupt you, Chief. It sounds like I'm missing a whole bunch of things here with screenshots and email traffic, which I know nothing about.
Yeah,
I
and I'm
haven't
not sure
seen
how,
an email or
I'm not sure how we're
screenshot.
going to resolve it tonight also, at this
Yeah, I
point.
mean, it
It's-
sounds
I
like there's
think,
a lot of moving parts
people
here.
are talking about grievances by 1 versus by 7. I think the chief is just going to have to make a decision without the union's consent, concurrence, advice, or assistance. If there's a grievance, we'll deal with the grievance in the process, whether it be by 1, 7, 4, 5, or 8. I think that's the only way to handle this right now appropriately. We don't have it on the agenda. Either add it, and I'm not sure what you're going to add onto the agenda, just giving some advice to the chief. You still may get a grievance that you're going to have to deal with. So it may just be appropriate at this time. I don't even know with data if the union is going to be able to. I hear what Mr. Eskowski and Attorney Bento are saying, and I understand their position clearly, given their constituents and who they represent. So I think the chief will just have to make the decision, and then we'll see if there's a grievance, whether he posts again or doesn't post, whether he lets Sergeant Martin sign up, not sign up, consider him, and then we'll just go forward from there. I think that's the only option at this point.
Yes, Dave.
Real quick, I'm with Commissioner Duke. I have no clue what's going on here, but all I want to ask is one question. When the list was put up, the posting was put up, was there a cutoff date to sign up? Was there a deadline to sign up by?
Chief Sakowski, yes.
There was. And what was that window? A week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
2 weeks, just
2
as
weeks.
we have in the past with other positions.
And we haven't even started the process yet of testing for it. Okay, so 2 weeks is standard SOP to sign up for a position.
Pretty much that's what we have done, yes. So
And if
what
somebody is-
happened was,
and if some-
November 4th,
And if
just
somebody,
if you want me to give you a quick recap, or?
no, I just want to know the time frame. That was all. And if somebody's out on sick leave or disability, do we reach out to them and make them aware of it? I'm not asking if we did or not. I'm asking, is it normal policy to do that?
I have never faced this situation before in all my years up here, so that's 13 years. So I did reach out. I sent an email out to all people that were eligible for that test when it was posted, meaning all detectives, all sergeants, all commanders. Everybody had or should have had access to their emails. Nobody was ever locked out. Nobody was ever prohibited from the building.
Okay.
So
So then you
that's
could-
where we're at.
So then you could provide an email that went out to a particular person. You can prove that it went to him. It was addressed to him. In a send file.
Yes, I do on computer and right here, sir. Names are on it. The email is on it, and it explains it. I can even read it to you if you want me to right now. But
not
I can
necessarily.
provide a copy.
Yes,
Mr.
Tom.
Chairman,
Yes, Tom.
it's obvious that there's a lot of moving parts to this whole thing. And I think I'd be more comfortable not hearing any of the details of it at this point, because I think it's got to be a decision either way by the chief, and whoever's going to grieve it, we're going to be hearing that step 2 grievance. So I'd rather hear the facts in a hearing factual standpoint, and instead of we're doing this in public right now, and I'm not even sure if this should be in public session, because I'm not sure that Sergeant Martin was even given that opportunity at this point or not. So I don't know if I'm in the right area or not, Attorney Leclerc.
I was just going to say, Commissioner Bennett, that's what I was trying to say. I think the chief has to make a decision and proceed, and then we'll see, depending on how he proceeds, whether there's a grievance. We'll deal with it accordingly, but that would probably be the best conduct. I don't know what else you're going to do this evening, because you don't have a grievance. No decision's been made. I think let the chief make a decision based upon the facts he has and the consultation with the union, and we'll go from there.
I agree, Chief. Consensus says that you make the decision whether he is eligible to take the test for signing up or not. You make that decision. We're not going to make that decision for you. That's your decision.
Mm.
Any board members have any other comments? Okay, hearing no other comments on this issue, could I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes, you can.
Motion by Dave, second by John. Everybody have a very happy, healthy, Merry Christmas and New Year, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Stay
Same to you.
healthy.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank
All
you.
in favor, raise your hand. Oppose, abstention, so carry 5-0. Stay safe and be healthy.
Bye. Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.